Hey y'all, it's been a while since I did one of these, and me 100%, I really was not feeling it. And I think that more than anything is the most important step in any mental health journey is to take time for yourself, protecting your peace. Sometimes shutting down is one of the best coping mechanisms I have when everything gets to be a bit too much. And with everything going on, both in and out of the news, it can be overwhelming to just be here. And in going back to Twitter, had to brace myself for the just wave of constant negativity that sometimes is a daily thing on that app, but there were a lot more positive responses as well. So it was nice going back, but honestly, it is still overwhelming because Twitter is a place where so many people share things. It's real easy to see so much bad, and that is why taking breaks is so important. Taking time for yourself, figuring out what you can do. And I'll be honest, I completely shut down the last few weeks. I needed time to not only get out of a dark place mentally, but I just didn't want to deal with things. I honestly felt like my whole being was hurting from this bout of depression, and being around people just wasn't it for me. But it could be a very dangerous place too. So I wanted to real talk about ways to help slowly ease yourself out of that kind of feeling, because it isn't easy. And there are so many people who don't go through it who want to say, "Oh, you can just exercise, you can just pep talk, you can just do that." No. Shut the fuck up. If you have never dealt with truly manic depression, like the complete crushing low out of the blue, your body hurts, your mind just doesn't want to deal with anything, you can't focus, you can't feel anything but bleakness, you cannot tell people who have lived through this how to feel and how to get out of this. I'm even being cautious because I want to impart what has worked for me to get me through this abyss, knowing that this worked for me. It might not work for you. But I want to try to help people who are going through this without that weird, peppy, motivational bullshit that people try to give you. I need to be real about this because there are days where, even when you're trying your hardest, you are going to feel so worthless, so like you don't deserve to be here. And you need to know that you do, but it's hard to get through sometimes. And what I started doing, especially when I started knowing, because you start to feel when that low is coming on. And it always gets worse around this time because certain things happened to me in the past, and triggers are left, right, and center. So I start prepping, whether it's escapes, like things I can watch to make me laugh and smile, whether it's pet videos, whether it's the return of Superman, because I love seeing dads flustered taking care of their little kids, whether it's music. Music has been a saving grace for me. I don't say that lightly. There are days where I can't deal with people. I put on music and I just let it relax my mind and take me away. And it can't just be loud or angry music, because a lot of us with mental health problems turn to that too. And that's not always helpful. And I stay away from the sad stuff too. I don't need to cry as much. I can already do it on my own when I'm feeling like this. So I go for stuff that makes you bounce, makes you dance, makes you want to move, you know. And then I try to do things like my daily routine, whether it's get up, clean up, take care of kiddo, take care of Greg, make sure that the house is taken care of. But when it gets to the point where you just need to curl up in bed, it's good to have people around you that both understand that. Don't try to push you and make you feel even more worthless. And start really telling yourself slowly, it's okay. You're having a bad day. It's not the end. Get through this. And I know it seems silly to say such things to yourself, but for real, sometimes you just need to constantly remind your brain that these days happen. This darkness happens to even the best of people, and that it feels overwhelming, but you can get through it. And there are days where you feel like you are standing in the abyss and it is just pulling you down and pulling you under. And I can't act like there's always going to be someone there with an olive branch. Sometimes you just have to swim your way out. And I've done it. That's the only thing I can tell you is I've done it several times. And just recently, just let the murky wash over me and just pulled out as soon as I could. And I'm still here. It's a tough way to be. It's unending. You go through cycles of, why am I so sad? What is going on? My life is okay. Why can't I enjoy this? To just the combo of dealing with an up and then having a low was the worst this time around, because I felt such a boost of both creative and physical energy. I started exercising a bit more. I thought I had everything going, and then it was like a sledgehammer. And I wish people who didn't know depression could understand just how awful this feels, because you feel like, why? Why is this happening? And I want people who are going through this to understand that it is your brain comboing with your body. It is a health issue, so it is not your fault. And if you can have help with it, whether it's medication, whether it's therapy, get it. But I understand that there are so many of us who cannot afford that, who can only power through it. So I'm telling you, please find healthy ways to cope, because that is another fear, that leaning into stuff to help you escape the pain that can be so dangerous. That is why I turn to music. I've turned to reading a lot more. I have been reading so many mangas now because some days I just can't handle the stress of everything. So that's my escape. It is a lot healthier escape to get lost in the digital world of anime or manga or video games sometimes as well. I wish I had the focus when I'm really depressed to play the way I want, but I just don't. And that's when you know a low is bad, when even the things you love can't hold your interest, can't hold your focus for more than a few minutes, if that long. So it is so vital for you to find little ways to cope, little ways to pep talk, even if it's an emotional support plush. I know some people laugh, because I'm gonna be 45 in a few days, like less than 2 weeks from now. So I'm not some spring chicken. I'm not a young child. But having my emotional support wolf that I got 2 years ago when I was having to get another blood transfusion for my anemia, some nights when I just can't deal, sit and hug him if I'm not hugging on Greg. So it's important to seriously find ways to cope that are healthy, that will help pull you out of this feeling, and understand that this feeling is a part of your sickness. It is not a character flaw. You did not choose this way about yourself. There's sometimes really bad outside factors that have caused you to be like this. And there are so many people talking mental health right now for all the wrong reasons. So it can make us feel even more self-conscious right now when we feel lows like this. But you can't let that be the case, because we're not one size fit all for what's going through our heads. We're not a monolith. So when somebody who acts out and does harmful things is called mentally ill, that's not on us. I am talking to those of us who struggle constantly in silence, who try to hide it, who mask up, who just suffer until we feel like we can't take it anymore. I see you. And I want you to understand that finding ways to cope during stuff like this is so key and so important, and it doesn't make you a lesser person. Our health problems are real, and it's hard to speak up honestly about this because you feel the stigma of even admitting that you have these things wrong with you. You feel the fear of people judging you, but you got to get past that. You got to stop caring about what outsiders think and start caring about making it better for yourself, because this is an ongoing battle. This is going to be constantly you versus what's up in here. And for me, it's constantly crowded up in here, so it can be a bit of a job to keep focused, to keep straight, to keep my mind where I need it to be. So if you're like this, or even if you're just dealing with anxiety or depression or whatever, know that it is okay to have days where you're not okay, and days where you just need to cut off, keep to yourself, find ways to de-stress, whether it's music, whether it's drawing, whether it's just reading, whether it's a funny show, whether it's pet videos. Because let me tell you, pet videos were the serotonin that I didn't think I needed in my life until I started really watching them. And some days where I was feeling at a super low point, I put on a YouTube pet video and just start giggling or tear up because you just see the cuteness in a puppy doing something silly, or a kitty curling against its master, or just a grin on a pit bull's face, because I'm a pit bull fan. I love pitties. And you start to realize that no matter how bad the world is, there are always good things about life. There are always creatures in this world that just make you want to hug and be here for them. And I just hope that by making these videos and letting you see the reality of somebody that struggles with both depression and anxiety and mental health issues, just hanging in there is sometimes all you can do, and you're a champ for doing that. And I know it feels cliche to say that, and I know some people will scoff at it, but if you are still here and struggling with something like this, you are stronger than you know. And I am so proud of you. And I really hope that you find ways to both cope when the darkness surrounds you, because it will. It's a hard reality to accept that there are going to be times where it just surrounds you, but you're not alone and you can get through this. I'm going to get ready to wrap this up. I will be on later tonight with the Bonnet Chronicles. I don't know when I'm posting this, so I'm not sure if this or that announcement will be weird or after the fact. I just wanted to tape this today because I was really feeling like I haven't done a mental health vlog in a while, but I didn't know what to say. I was still deep in a manic low, and honestly speaking, I don't want to come across as if I know everything about this. I just know how I'm surviving this. I just know what I like to do to try to pull myself out when I'm feeling this. And I also know that when I am really bad, all I can do is just be. And that is the best advice I can give when you're going through depression. Just be, let it get through your system, cry when you need to cry, curl up when you need to curl up, and figure out a healthy way to cope and crawl out of this feeling. Because so many people think they can just power you through it when you feel absolutely powerless. And that's why I ignore those kind of people, because for real, what works for you might not work for other people. But I feel like there are probably a lot of people out there that go through manic lows the way I do, that are sick and tired of hearing, oh, you can just do this or you can just do that. Sometimes the best way to handle something like this is to just be and understand that you are just going through it and that you still need to be here. So you just need to get through it. But I will see you all sometime next week. Thank you for tuning in.